Good afternoon. This is an open meeting of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission on July 22, 2009. We meet today to consider a proposal that would significantly curtail the corrupting and distortive influence of pay-to-play practices, including, among other things, campaign contributions made to influence the selection of investment advisors to manage public pension plans and similar government investment accounts. In the public pension and government plan world, pay-to-play refers to an often unspoken but well-understood arrangement. It's an arrangement whereby investment advisors who make political contributions and related payments to key officials are then rewarded with or afforded the opportunity to compete for contracts to manage public pension plans and other government accounts. There should be no place for such practices in an investment advisory industry comprised of fiduciaries that are subject to high standards of ethical conduct. Pay-to-play practices can result in public plans and their beneficiaries receiving subpar advisory services. It is important, therefore, that we address advisor pay-to-play practices for public plans and their beneficiaries and participants who are relying on advisors to manage their future retirement benefits and education funds, and for taxpayers who in some cases fund the services that the advisors provide. In the end, the selection of investment advisors to manage public plans should be based on merit and the best interests of the plans and their beneficiaries, not the payment of kickbacks or political favors. In 1999, the Commission considered a proposal to curb advisor pay-to-play practices modeled on MSRB Rule G37 that applies to underwriters of municipal bonds. In the 10 years since, we've seen a number of criminal and regulatory actions that suggest the need to finally act to address these practices. And importantly, the scope of government plans, and thus the potential harm that can result from pay-to-play practices, has grown. Public pension plans alone hold more than $2.2 trillion of assets and represent 1/3 of all U.S. pension assets. Additionally, state-sponsored plans that enable families to invest money for college and other higher education, commonly known as 529 plans, hold more than $104 billion in assets. These plans were in their infancy when the Commission last took up this issue in 1999. In light of the potential for fraud and the substantial size and increased scope and importance of the government plan market, it is time for the Commission to act to prevent advisor pay-to-play practices. In taking these steps today, I think we can help to level the playing field for all advisors, both large and small, so they can compete for government contracts based on investment skill and quality of service, not based on political contributions and inappropriate under-the-table payments. The core of today's proposals would prohibit an investment advisor who makes a political contribution to an elected official who is in a position to influence the selection of the advisor for providing advisory services for compensation for a period of 2 years. The advisor also would be prohibited from soliciting contributions for such officials. The rules would apply to the investment advisor as well as certain executives and employees of the advisor. And additionally, the rules would apply to political incumbents as well as candidates for a position that can influence the selection of an advisor. The proposals also would prohibit an advisor and certain of its executives and employees from paying a third party, such as a solicitor or placement agent, to solicit a government client on behalf of the advisor. The proposals, however, would not preclude a state or local government from hiring a third party to assist with the selection of an investment advisor. Finally, and very importantly, the proposals would prohibit an advisor and certain of its executives and employees from doing indirectly acts that would violate the rules if done directly. This provision would prevent advisors from circumventing the rule by directing or funding contributions through third parties, such as attorneys, family members, or companies affiliated with the advisor. The rules provisions generally would apply to advisors of pooled investment vehicles, such as mutual funds that are often used as investment vehicles in 529 college investment plans and similar government plans. While the SEC can and has brought fraud cases related to kickbacks in advisor pay-to-play schemes, we are concerned there may be broader efforts and monetary payments being made to influence the selection of advisors to manage government plans. These payments have a distortive influence on the advisor selection process. However, proving a direct quid pro quo or intent to influence in a specific case often is not possible, particularly since these practices may be done in a manner that is intentionally difficult to detect. As a result, the prophylactic rules we are considering today would address specific circumstances where monetary payments may inappropriately be used to influence the selection of an investment advisor. I look forward to hearing more about these proposals from the Division of Investment Management. Before I do that, however, I'd like to thank those who have worked long and hard to prepare the recommendation before us today. Buddy Donahue, Bob Plays, Sarah Bassine, Diane Call, Matt Golden, and Melissa Roberts from the Division of Investment Management, Amy Edwards and Chuck Dale from the Office of Economic Analysis, and Meredith Mitchell, Jeff Singh-Dawson, Lori Price, David Fredrickson, Kathy Ahn, Sharon Zamore, and Mark Pennington in the Office of the General Counsel. Buddy?